Alright, this is Andrew with Joda Home Inspections. We are doing a sewer scope today here in Ogden. Today is July 2nd, 2026. And we are at 3275 Taylor Ave. We have the camera pushed out 160 feet, which that's as long as my camera can go out. And so we're seeing a lot of the line, but there's still going to be parts of the line that we're not seeing. And there should be an access point every 50 feet. That's the more modern standard. And so if I find another access point in the yard, I'll scope from there. But there's a good chance this will be as much as we can see. I'm giving it just another second for the water to finish draining. I run water to help push the camera out. So far it looks like you have good grade. I'm not seeing any standing water that would indicate that it's flat or bellied. Pretty long line. Average length of a line that I see is only 100 feet. And so this is definitely a longer line, but it's also a long driveway. We're on a hill, so sometimes it takes more distance to hit the line where it's lower in the street so that you can have proper grade. So nothing wrong with a long line, but the more line there is, the more potential there is for issues. So there's a clean out, 112 feet out. I'll look for it. I didn't see it when I was in the yard as I inspected the exterior. I'm not 100% sure that this goes towards the front of the house. Most of the time sewers go towards the front street, but when you get into neighborhoods that have a lot of hills, sometimes you'll have sewers that go behind the house. I would ask the city for the map of the sewer line. They should be able to provide that, and you would know exactly where it goes, and then also where that clean out is. Right next to the clean out there was a little bit of standing water. It wasn't horrible, but when you have any sort of standing water, grease can settle. It can create a sticky spot where waste can build up, and if you get enough waste stuck in the line, it can create a blockage. That is a root, not a huge one, but it's only going to get bigger. You want to eventually have it cleaned out, that way it doesn't create a blockage where it backs up. I think this is probably cast iron, but it looks pretty smooth, so it's likely been cleaned at some point. Eventually cast iron will need to be replaced. It gets real rough and rusty. That thins out, but for being cast, this is looking pretty decent. A little rougher through here. When you have the root cleaned, you could have this cast cleaned as well. It's possible they clean part of the cast iron, but not all of it. I know there's another access point under the basement kitchen sink, but it's partially covered by the cabinet. And so to get access, you'd have to probably cut the cabinet But this cast iron looks rough enough that I'd recommend it be cleaned now. If you compare this to the cast we were in a second ago, much rougher, much more likely for waste to get stuck. It's definitely more of a mystery, the actual condition, because we can't see much of the pipe itself. We're just seeing all this scale and build up on it. Alright, now we're coming back up the roof stack, so there's nothing to see here. But to recap, we weren't able to see the entire line. Couple different types of pipes. First part looks like it was probably transite, which is cement asbestos. I don't think it was clay because you didn't have as many joints. And then cast iron under the house. Part of the cast iron looks pretty good, part of it looks pretty rough, and I'd recommend it be cleaned. You do have one small root, wasn't huge, but you want to eventually have that cleaned out. I'm going to end this recording now.